The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Ooh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
And it listened to me. It walked out of the thicket. It turned around and looked at me.
They looked up, and in this tree, there was a monkey man. And the monkey man jumped down out of the tree and started running away.
And suddenly, they're right in front of the car. He slams on the brakes and manages to stop. And he's skidding because it's like quite, gravelly. And literally for about a second and a half, they just stood there because they don't know where to go. And you can tell they're panicking. They're like roof flapping. Their face is like twitching.
Welcome back to Bigfoot Society, a podcast where we focus on cryptids, the strange, and the unexplained of this world. If you've got a story or something weird to share, send an email over to me at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support this show, head on over to patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. And now, on with the show. All right, Bigfoot Society, got the privilege of talking to a new friend tonight, Mr. Ken Metzger from the Montana Bigfoot International Research Group. How's it going, Ken?
It's going real good. Like I was telling you, we're gearing up for this year's field research trips in Montana, possibly Colorado, Oregon, and Idaho again.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So a few quick words about Ken. He is a Bigfoot researcher out there in Montana, and he's got some really interesting stories. Ken, is there anything else that our listeners would need to know about you to kind of set the stage before we start chatting?
Well, I've come to believe now, encounters with Bigfoot when I was young in the mountains, when I used to take off and go camping, things I'd see, structures, something large walking away, bipedal. So I've been around it for a long time. And I really didn't get into it until my first sighting in 1978. I have to know what I saw.
Yeah.
Especially when you know it's not a bear. It has intrigued me. It's become a quest.
Wow.
For me.
So to clarify, it sounds like did you have a sighting and that put you on your quest to figure out what was going on? So it wasn't like you were watching TV and you're like, this looks like fun. Right. You had a sighting.
Yeah. It was in 1978. I had hiked into an alpine lake out at Deborsha, Montana, Crystal Lake, and I spent the day fishing. Well, coming out, I had seen bear scat and everything. So you become cautious, especially when you're carrying trout. And I could hear a log being torn apart off this old logging road. So I stopped, put the creel on my shoulders. I could drop it if I had to. What walked up on the road was not a bear. It was walking upright. And it was, I'd estimate, between 7.5 to 8.5 foot tall. It was covered in short black hair, long muscular arms, a barrel chest. The legs were muscular. The hands appeared to have no hair on them, as did the feet. The face, the head was rounded with small ears, and when it turned its head, you could see protruding eyebrows. The nose was somewhat flat. The mouth was a little bit open, but you could see the bottom 2 dog teeth. Wow. It looked at me, and then went up a steep bank. In 2 steps, it was up a real steep bank.
Really?
And then started paralleling the road. Of course, I figured it was time to get out of there, which I did. And then I stopped and I built a little rock thing. And I've always been taught you go out, you always return something. So I dropped some trout by it, and I left. Now you're talking. This is a 7.5 mile hike in and out, so you're talking 15 miles round trip. And I was the only one in there, and there's been reports of that area a lot. Sightings up in that area, in the Hagen, Deborsha area, tree knocks, visuals. I'd have them knock on the side of the house when I lived up there. Even in the middle of the night, you hear real quick raps. So we knew they were out there. You could smell them. Cutting firewood, you take a break. All of a sudden, you hear real sharp tree knocks. And it wasn't the wind knocking trees. I'd been in the mountains too much to be able, to know that.
Wow.
And
yeah, I had no idea Montana was so squatchy, to be honest. This is incredible.
well, I got reports from the Missouri Breaks, Cut Bank, Sydney, the Big Hole, the Beartooth, the Bob Marshall, the Pintler Selway area, Bigfoot sightings. And there's not many groups in Montana that's going out there because there's no guarantee we're going to find anything.
Sure.
But there's always that chance. There's always that chance that have an account. I'll give you an example. That video I had you watch, we didn't know we had captured that juvenile. And that's been verified as an unknown bipedal creature. It's not a bear or a human. Just prior to that, something large was smelling the window of the motorhome where the wife was sleeping. She woke up. She didn't wake me up. She got up, went out in the dining room, because the blinds were up. She went and laid back down. She didn't wake me up. But she got up, and I got up and asked what was wrong. She told me. She said she heard it walk away. Heavy footsteps. So the next morning, I went out and measured from the flat of the ground to where she pointed on the window was 9.5 feet.
Really?
Which put a creature 10 foot or better. At the same time, that small one at 6 foot was standing by the Jeep.
It's a really interesting video because it's like you can see just enough of it to raise questions. That's the crazy part. And if you want, listeners, if you want to check out this video, you just go to the Montana Bigfoot Research Group.com. Yeah. And it is on there for you to view. But I'll definitely have that link in the show notes as well. But I've watched it more than a few times myself. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, a little bit of the history of that area. Jeff, which is a co-founder, he's the one that actually got me to open up the Montana Bigfoot International Research Group because of his curiosity. And now my primary online researcher is out of Malaysia. He worked for the Canadian Forest Service. So he sends me what he finds, and we post it on our Facebook site. And they're up there. What caught Jeff's eye was the footprints in the snow that just wandered off on a main game trail. And then his son was down by where we normally have our base camp playing with the dog, and all of a sudden a big rock was thrown into the water, and something bipedal walked away. And every time we go up there, something happens. So I continue going to the area because there is activity. You'll hear, it sounds like a screech owl, but it's not a screech owl.
Okay.
You'll hear coyotes, but they're not coyotes. You'll hear funny bird sounds. So these are the areas we return to because eventually we're going to get that little thing on video cam.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll have 10 trail cams put out. Generally, I have 2 around the camp. We're deploying 2 drones this year, a large one and a small one. See what we can catch from the air.
What kind of drones are you guys using?
They're Venator drones. They're only good for the day. At nighttime, my night vision binoculars, or I can record. It has SIM cards. I can record through them, but not at a distance. And I'll give an example in a minute on that. My video cam, which has voice recording, it records at night too. But you're only limited by distance. Example, I was over in St. Mary's, and I have 2 photographs of something avoiding something black. It looks like your shoulder, avoiding the trail cam. My trail cams are set anywhere from 6.5 to 7.5 foot off the ground. So it's not a bear. I mean, I've gotten deer, elk, moose, wolves on the trail cams already. The night we went out with my stepson, Glass, and I had what appeared to be a juvenile looking at us through the trees.
Wow.
And I tried to get a recording. When I dropped the binoculars down, put them back up, it was gone. A little later, I was scanning a tree line, and there was a large one standing there watching us.
Oh, wow.
Just after that, me and Josh was standing there, and a big log come flying between the 2 of us from behind.
Hold on, Ken. Okay, here we go. So you guys are watching the tree line for the Squatch, and all of a sudden a huge log gets thrown at you?
Yeah, coming from behind us, so there was more than one there.
Oh, dude, they were sneaky. They snuck up behind you, and they were going to take you out from behind.
Yeah, so we decided it was probably prudent to leave. To go back to the motorhome and the house.
Yeah.
But I did the call, the woo, woo call.
Okay.
And I got coyotes in response, but weren't coyotes.
Wow. Have you gotten interesting audio on recorded when you're out there? Are you always recording audio, or?
Yes, I also have a sonic listening device which these headphones go to.
Oh, sure.
So I can pick up anything in the distance.
Oh, wow.
And it does record, and then I put it in on cassette, which then I transferred over to a flash drive. Is what I was looking for today. I probably have 21 recordings of different sounds I've actually recorded myself. So when I do get those out, I'll send them to you.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, they're here. Phillipsburg, Dromedary's cattle country. During the calving season, calves come up missing. It's not wolves taking it. They actually footprints leading away.
Whoa, really? So you're I would guess ranchers are finding these footprints.
Yeah.
And they're like large, they're pretty much Bigfoot type footprints, you're saying?
Consider 18 to 22 inches.
Yeah, I consider that. Yeah, I could consider that. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy food source for them.
Yeah, it is. Even during pawning season for deer, calving season for elk and moose, I'm sure Bigfoot takes the babies. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an animal that's capable of killing a deer, an elk.
Wow.
In the history of it, in 1851 in Arkansas, 2 guys watched a Bigfoot chasing cattle, trying to grab it. And 1846 actually found 22-inch tracks in the snow. That's in Arkansas.
Wow.
And then, but part of doing research for Bigfoot, you've got to find when the first are kind of recordings, not considered like we talked about the Native American, because it's there in pictographs and in legends. If you talk to the Pawnees in the Southwest, the war they had with them, the natives up on the West Coast, the war they had with Bigfoot, and where there was finally a trout growing. What you want to do, go back. Now, the earliest account I've been able to find is 986 AD, and that's Leif Erikson in Newfoundland.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And he describes large, hairy, smelly creatures that were very aggressive. And then in 1793, Santiago, I can't say his pronounced name, he was commissioned by the Spanish king to explore the west coast of South America and North America. He wrote in his journals of large bipedal creatures.
Wow.
When Lewis and Clark was headed through exploring the Louisiana Purchase, they were warned by the Mandans, the Shoshone, the Blackfoot about large, hairy men in the mountains that like to steal horses and eat them. And it's in that journal somewhere, and I've been trying to find it. I had the passage at one time. So, there's a history of it. And it's something we can't ignore. They've been around a lot longer than we have. And whether they come across a land bridge or they're related to giant Pithecus, we don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Now, any DNA they've done on the East Coast, Expedition Bigfoot did DNA on samples, it come back as an unknown chimpanzee.
Right, down in Kentucky. Was it Kentucky?
Yes. Now, on the West Coast, the DNA come back as a species of orangutan.
We all know the value of building a strong personal and professional network, but in practice, it's really difficult. We lose touch with someone when we change jobs, or we miss a close friend's birthday. We built Clay to make being thoughtful in your relationships easier. Once you connect your accounts, LinkedIn, email, Facebook, iMessage, and more, Clay automatically pulls in everyone you know and builds a beautiful profile for them. Then you can search your entire network, take notes, set reminders to reach out, and even be prompted to reconnect if it's been a while. Clay also includes a feed of important updates from the people in your life, like a news mention or a birthday. For listeners of this podcast, we're offering a 60-day free trial if you visit clay.earth/partners/60. Again, that's clay.earth/partners/60.
Now, an expedition into Tibet in a real high alpine lake nobody goes into, they did eDNA, and it come back as 98% human. Now, what we have to understand, there's only 2 to 3% difference in our DNA between us and the giant primates, the gorillas, the chimpanzees, and the orangutans.
Interesting.
There's a lot out there, and you're going to hear say, people want the attention. And my standing policy for my group, I don't want the attention. I want answers.
Absolutely.
But what we learn helps you, the people, come to understand, because the scientists ain't going to tell us. The government sure in the hell ain't going to tell us. So it's up to us individual ones out there willing to take the time.
And to make the connections with the other groups, and hopefully your research helps out other people and their research helps out yours, and just hopefully people keep connecting and play nice so that can happen.
Spring is pretty much confirmed. I've got one research group in Colorado that's coming. I've got the Sasquatch Highway out of Oregon, Bruce. He's coming. And then in the fall, I return to that area twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. I've got another group coming out of Texas to do it, and we'll be there for 2 weeks.
Coming to your research area. Oh, wow. That is
so
really
we're
interesting.
unknown, but we're also the ones out there doing it. We don't talk much about it. I will post on the domain or on my Facebook site some of the stuff, we do come across.
Yeah. I'm curious. The first thing I want to know more about is in the name itself, International Research Group. So obviously you guys are researching on Montana, but what is it that makes it an international thing?
We have I get reports from Wales, Germany, Scotland, the Philippines, Malaysia, Borneo, Thailand, Australia. It's like, they have to be international, because I have members from all over the world. We actually have 23 countries, members in 23 countries.
Fascinating.
And it's, like I said, the one from, let's see, in the encounters, the Cliff Eagle speaker, something the Blackfoot Indian Reservation, talked about what him and his girlfriend saw, a bipedal creature walking. And then you go beyond that, and this is all on there. The one in Wales, it was July 18th, 2021. A guy was digging a ditch, and he looked up and saw a large bipedal creature walking towards him. And when it saw him, it took off.
Wow.
And then the reports out of Malaysia and Borneo of the Pendeka, which is what they call the Bigfoot down there. It's a smaller one, and it's more orangish in color. So we do get these reports. Like I was telling you, I don't know when I'll get a message where somebody has, this is what we've seen. And then what I do is I immediately go online and I start researching. Let's say Wales. How many sightings have been in Wales? You'll be surprised. How many in Scotland? How many in England? You always do a follow-up to make sure you're not getting, BS. And everything I'm finding is backing what they're telling us.
Wow. In the research area that the Montana group has, are you all focusing on getting a certain type of evidence, or is it pretty much whatever you can find? So is it more footprints or audio or video, or you just kind of throwing everything at it?
This year, we're going to concentrate on footprints, looking for hair samples. Those that go in the field, I want them collecting small, empty bird nests. Birds will use hair to line their nests. They use like hair off of horses and that. So any hair in there, I do have a microscope. I can look to see if I've got the written that I can send into a lab. We want to get actually better vocalizations. Yeah, and catch something on video where we have the definitive proof. And this takes time. It's not something that I don't think people realize just how intense field research is.
Absolutely.
Because we have two groups during the day, and I try to narrow it to one group at night. Because somebody gets lost, it's a whole lot harder to find them that night than during the day, especially in Montana, because this is rugged, rough country.
I mean, that's the thing, because, and it's not just Bigfoot. You have to be, I mean, you have extremely large predators besides Bigfoot up there as well, right?
Yes, we have wolves, we have mountain lions, we have black bears, we have grizzlies.
Oh, grizzlies, wow.
Yeah, and they're big ones. These are big, humpback grizzlies, and they're not friendly. So, we have to be aware at all times, just not Bigfoot, the apex predators in the area. Coyotes, I don't worry about. Bobcats or lynx, we do have those.
Sure.
Too, but it's the primary ones, the mountain lions, your wolves, the bears, and possibly Bigfoot. Do they take humans? Unknown question.
Wow. Have there is there a history of Bigfoot sightings in Montana that you're aware of? I know you've looked into different history reports in different parts of the U.S., but have you found any how far things go back in Montana itself?
Oh, there is a report. It will be from Lewis and Clark.
Oh, okay.
Written down.
Gotcha.
The Blackfeet and the Blackfoot in their legend goes, according to them, they were already here.
Wow.
And the Sioux talk about them. Then get farther south into the southwest, your Pawnee and Navajo, the Zuni, all have a history. They actually have a dance. It's a Bigfoot dance. It's not the bear dance. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is cool. That is cool.
So when you're doing research, this is the whole thing is you've got to look at everything. You got to have an open mind. You can't be a skeptic and say, oh, that didn't happen. We used to keep on coming across the same thing over and over, but from different sources. There's a basis there you've got to find out. Why. The old saying, what, where, when, and why.
Right.
Those are what you're trying to answer.
Do you feel like you have adequate evidence to prove its existence in Montana, or are you still reaching for a better piece, hopefully next year?
I think we do. I do, but I want that conclusive piece. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry, as they say. And that's why, you know, it's just not there to go, because I'm now by myself, and I have a big motorhome, a Class A, and I tow my Jeep behind. I can go out and spend weeks. As long as I got propane and water, I can be out there doing field research. And it's just a matter of being there at the right time.
Yeah.
And the one area there's unusual things happen is the Beartooth Range. People come up missing there and they don't know why.
Are you talking about like missing 411 stuff?
Yeah. They
Really?
know there's an aggressive Bigfoot in those mountains that are actually killing people.
Wow. So how is it that have you heard reports, or there's been things seen that you know it's an aggressive Bigfoot?
Somebody's missing, they find them, and it looked like the person's gone through a meat tenderizer. All the bones are crushed.
Whoa.
Neck's broken.
Oh, wow.
Skull's crushed in, ribs are crushed, legs are broken. Some have been found wrapped around a tree.
Wow, wrapped around a tree. That's extremely intense.
I don't know if you heard on that, the drug dealers the sheriff knew about, they were going to do a bust.
They are in your group?
No, this is someone else. And
this is a different, because I saw another story in your group that was incredible. But go on with yours.
The 911 call they received, they could hear gunfire, and the people were saying El Monsterio. Well, of course, the cops are going to respond. When they got there, it was all quiet. They found all this ammo had been shot. They found the bodies just tore apart. The backside of the trailer was completely ripped open. And this little girl come out, and all she would say, El Monsterio, El Monsterio.
Oh, the monster, right?
Yeah. You know, Eight Canyon's another one. Those gold prospectors, why did Bigfoot attack them? But if you listen to what they said, they shot at Bigfoot, killing one and wounding one. Bigfoot reprisal was they were going to get those guys.
Now, the report you referred to in Beartooth, is that kind of behavior? So I'm guessing that kind of behavior isn't anything you would see from a grizzly. Is it almost more aggressive than you would see from a bear? Really?
Yeah, it's more aggressive. A grizzly, if he takes you, he's either going to eat you or bury you.
Okay. Like you're not going to be there anymore at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these are different. And that's more reported attacks in the Beartooth by something unknown. And bears are ruled out, mountain lions are ruled out.
How far back do these missing reports go for Beartooth?
1938.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's been happening all along.
It's been happening all along.
Oh, man. Wow.
You know, the Bob Marshall.
Yeah.
If people have never been in the Bob Marshall, the only way in there is by horseback or foot. I used to work for the outfitters as a camp cook during hunting season.
Okay.
What I saw that day was not a bear.
What did you see?
I'm sitting there watching the slide just across the stream, and I watched a herd of elks come out. They looked like cows. They turned around and took off back the way they had come. What walked out on that trail wasn't a bear. It was walking upright. Black. After it crossed the clearing, the slide, there was 2 real loud tree knocks.
Wow.
And that night when the federal game warden came, because I'd asked the outfitter about it, and the outfitter told the game warden, well, Ken saw the big guy, and the game warden started laughing.
Ken saw the big guy. That's what
Yeah.
they said.
Yeah.
Oh man. Then
And the
after
game
that,
warden-
it's all bets are off. You must have been like, it's on.
Yeah, it's on now. That makes me,
Yeah.
Like I was saying, it's just not the only kind. I'll give you another example of why I know I've been around them. I used to run a winter trap line for beaver and coyotes and that up a place off of the Blackfoot. Back
Okay.
then they were logging, so they had the road plowed. I had an area that I set my base camp up, and then I'd snowshoe. And never used to snowmobile. I had Alaska Trails modified.
Sure.
So I'd make my coyote sets, and I always used conibears, quick kills. I don't believe in animal suffering.
Mm.
I had to left to get supplies and come back now to start running my line, probably about a mile from the camp. One of the cubbies was tore up. There was a coyote head in the trap, but no body.
Really?
Yeah, but you could see tracks leading away, but it was covered with snow. So I continued to where I'd spend the night. Then my next day I'd come back along Gold Creek itself on my beaver sets. There were beaver traps totally destroyed, pulled out of the water.
Man.
So something took the beaver.
Yeah.
And there again, tracks. And you're talking tracks 16, 17, 18 inches that were covered in snow. You could definitely tell.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, did you get scared? I think you do, but you become more cautious and alert to your surrounding
Oh,
areas.
sure.
I have a standing policy when any of my kids go with me. Listen to the forest, the woods, the mountains. They're going to tell
Yeah.
you a story.
All right.
And most people don't understand this, like pine squirrels. If they sound off in the distance, they have an alarm. Pay attention. Because
Okay.
if they start sounding off as they're coming towards you, that means something's coming towards you. And I've seen bears. Actually, the squirrels are just ahead of the bears.
Oh, really?
So-
Wow.
Is that an indicator? Yes.
Yeah. Man. I was going to ask you earlier, the missing people reports in Beartooth, are those things you've just researched yourself, or did you find were those in like a certain area gathered together, or?
Well, I knew one of the deputy sheriffs down in that area. I won't say his name.
Yeah, okay. So you
He
got
knew
the
I was
inside,
into
yeah.
Yeah, to protect him, he knew I'm into the Bigfoot stuff, and he got to talking to me. They get at least 2-3 reports a year, people missing. Some they never find.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so when they hear stuff, they're coming to you.
Yeah. I'll get a phone call, say, hey, Ken, another guy's missing. Now, Chief Joseph, which is the pass out of the Bitterroot into Idaho, you swing over there into the Big Hole. And anybody that knows about the Big Hole, that's where the Nez first had really their first contact with the cavalry when Chief Joseph was escaping from Idaho. They have a sightings of a bipedal creature quite often around that campground.
Really?
And it's not a bear. So that's on my list this year to actually go in and set up a camp, my motorhome and everything, and spend some time, put out trail cams and try some things.
Hmm.
And that'll make local news when that happens.
Yeah. Oh, man.
People in
That's
Montana are real
awesome.
reserved about talking what they experience. Okay, Unabomber, Lincoln, Montana, where the Unabomber Tchaikovsky was found.
Ted Kissins. Oh, man. This episode's going to raise some red flags in algorithms. Let's party.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, when the FBI was staked up the cabin, they
Yep.
watched a mountain lion kill a deer. They ain't no way they're going
Really?
to get out of that. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They
wow.
talked to us, no way they're going to get out of that car. But there has been reports of the locals, and that's the thing about people in Montana, they're so closed-mouthed. Now, I do have a member that's going to meet me sometime this summer up at Lincoln to show me some of these areas,
Okay.
which I'm always happy to go to. I got all the time in the world until
Yeah.
winter shuts me out.
There you go.
So,
Oh, man.
it's an adventure. I look at it as an adventure, but it's an adventure for knowledge, for understanding.
What would it take for your quest to be done?
To finally verify what I saw was not a bear.
Okay.
I'm not going to say like guys joke around, have a sit down with me and have a beer.
Right.
But no, to be able to say, yes, it wasn't a bear. It was definitely a bipedal creature.
Will it take what kind of evidence would that take?
If I can find feces where I can get DNA, footprints, we take
Okay.
eDNA, take a ground, dirt,
Yeah.
which I have all the equipment to do it. It's just finding the stuff to do it.
Sure.
I'm going to try to get fingerprints this year. And I'm going to use a large beer can, opened up beer, set out at night. If it's on the ground, I have the dusting powder for fingerprints.
Okay.
It's finally to prove, just not to myself, to others, that, hey, these do exist. This is another thing our government's covering up.
Hmm.
You know, there's so many theories about Bigfoot. I have my own. And I'm sure it's going to conflict with others. But
Sure.
over the years, you develop a theory. What is it? You know, I study the human evolution.
Hmm.
And you're surprised, the primates did not evolve like humans, but yet they did evolve. Is Bigfoot an evolutionary takeoff of the primates? A larger giant Pithecanthropus, gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees.
Gotcha.
If they're getting DNA and stuff that comes back as unknown primate, then there's something there.
Right.
And the other thing is to find a lab that won't shoot their mouth off to the government.
Well, I mean, it's like, who can you trust that your evidence is going to magically end up missing and never get returned to you, like so often is the case, right?
Well, I did. I sent in some DNA samples, some eDNA,
Oh, you did?
and I've never heard a word.
Really?
And that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
So what was the results?
It either means you found something, or there's a lot
Yeah.
of people in the labs that are not so organized.
Yeah, I'm going to be smoking if you don't mind.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
What if you had to put a pin down on a map of Montana for the squatchiest area? What would you think?
For the hysteria?
Or the squatchiest area.
I think where I'm going again this year,
Okay.
because something always happens there. And that's the key, is now it's being there at the right time. Having enough people out there, out in the field. We're actually going to be putting out a satellite camp.
A satellite cam.
Yeah.
Really? Tell me about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, a group from Washington, I'll be taking them into an area. It's about a mile, maybe, or maybe only half a mile from an alpine lake. I've come across tree structures in that. So I'm going to jeep in and tent, sleeping bags, cooking gear, everything, and they're going to spend a few nights in there. Now, they will be in contact with the base camp through the CVs. Both the motorhome and the Jeep has CVs, and they will have a portable. Those in the field have two-way radios. One's in the base camp, and the guys have them. I can hear what's going on if they're talking between each other. So I'm curious, is Bigfoot moving from the lakes through that draw up into the Bar Marshall, over the top into the Bob Marshall? It's a Swan Range on one side and the Mission Mountains on the other side.
Wow.
It's a big area. It's a big area.
How many hours do you think you've put in over the years for Bigfoot research? If you had to round it up.
1,200 hours.
Wow, that's awesome. That is amazing.
And a lot of times,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm limited because of my health, my heart.
Oh, sure.
I can't get out there like I used to when I was a kid.
Okay.
If I didn't have a bad heart, I'd be the one out there in a satellite camp.
Okay.
By myself.
Yeah.
But now I have others that do it, and it's hard to get people to come. They don't realize it's important. I have the people there that follow the rules. We do have rules for field research, and we're real strict. You follow these rules, otherwise you're removed.
Sure.
It's not a
That's
game.
good.
And that, because you get hurt out there, the closest hospital is 45 miles away.
Oh my goodness, that's game over, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no place to bring a helicopter in there.
Oh, really? So you can't even like medvac anyone out? Like it's really, you're done. Yeah.
Well, we had a saying in the Bob Marshall with the hunters: if your buddy dies, lay him over a log. It's easier to put him on a horse, a pack horse, than if he's flat.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And there's truth
that'll
to
make
it.
a person pay attention. Yeah.
We request that nobody goes armed, but myself and the head of the teams I send out.
Sure.
So somebody doesn't get gun happy. And I don't like anybody really be carrying a weapon. At night, I understand, but during the day, I think Bigfoot can sense it.
I agree with you. From what I've heard talking to people, I would agree with you on that for sure. It's weird. You always hear stories about how they can sense certain things, or can they sense IR on like game cams, stuff like that. It's just really, really interesting stuff. You're really not sure what this creature can and can't do. It's pretty intense for sure.
Yeah, see, we changed our flashlights. We don't use white.
Okay.
We use a high-density blacklight flashlight.
Oh, interesting.
I've shown normally deer and that will have eye shine. Under these, there's no eye shine.
Okay.
You can see them, and there is no eye shine.
Gotcha.
So does Bigfoot see that color spectrum? We don't know.
Yeah. Over the years, all those hours that you're out there, have you ever noticed anything else weird or strange that you're like, it was Bigfoot, but I'm really not sure what's going on here?
You mean trees driven upside down in the ground?
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
X's where there
You've
should
run
be
into
X.
that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. You don't find those very often. You're more up north, but you do every once in a while here. You'll find X's in a different configuration. Blinds during water holes along game trails and streams. All sorts of weird things. I've run across fish traps. They're in places where there ain't no humans, and I see those. In the spring, the rainbow trout and the silver salmon spawn. In the fall, the kokanee salmon in that spawn. The brown trout, the brookies.
Sure.
So those streams have got trout in them, fish, which is a food source that there's like, and I think Bigfoot does too. These fish traps are primitive. But they work. Expedition Bigfoot, they come across it in Washington. Didn't know what it was. So I was telling the wife, I've already been talking about this. What does Bigfoot eat? Is it a carrion eater? Mm-hmm. We know it'll kill. Yeah. What kind of, if you look at the edible things, if you look at, like in Montana, baby fern, cattail, young cattail, huckleberries, raspberries. I'm sure they raid farmers' fields. there's a lot to eat out there. Then you look at taking deer, taking elk, even a moose, and they will kill a bear. So cubs, if it comes across the cub, that's food for the Bigfoot.
So let's focus. So you're saying they will kill a bear?
Yes.
How do you know that? I'm genuinely curious how you know.
How can you come across a bear with a broken neck and there's no gunshot wound and there's nothing around?
Okay.
So a smell in the air smells like something dead, rotten, and moldy.
Wow. Is that something you've come upon yourself, or
a couple of times?
Really?
Yeah.
You found a bear that has a snapped neck.
Yeah.
Totally dead. And now is this like full size adult or what size?
Adult. One was a full size adult. The other was a cub. The cub had one hindquarter missing. They've been torn off. And anybody's doubting me, I'll take a polygraph to any of this stuff. Because I'm serious about, what I see. I've not talked about it until recently of what I've experienced out there.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just really taken aback by that. I mean, that's incredible, because I'm thinking another bear probably couldn't. I'm trying to think of creatures that could like break, or you said break the neck of a bear. Like that's intense, Ken.
I know. I hunt bear.
Yeah.
I know how thick their necks are.
Yeah. That'd make me, I would be thinking for a while on that, man. It's like, there's only a few, I really can't think of anything other than Bigfoot that could do something like that, dude.
Yeah. A boar bear will kill a cub. That's why the sows are so protective of the cubs. Okay. Well, a sow can get separated from the cubs, get separated. What happens if Bigfoot grabs it? You're talking an animal except 800-900 pounds or more.
Yeah.
An animal 8.5 to 11 foot tall, extremely muscular.
Can you imagine? I'm not sure if anyone has a story of this, but seeing the fight between a grizzly and a Bigfoot, my goodness, wouldn't that be something to go down in the ages?
Yeah, well, the other thing I've noticed when I'm out, if there's no bears, that's where I start hearing the weird vocalizations and stuff. I think the bears get the hell out of there.
Sure.
It's like they're finding out porpoises are killing great white sharks. If they show up, the great white sharks leave. It's all documented.
Yeah, right.
Now, the great white shark's an apex predator. If a bear's a black bear, it's not as powerful as a grizzly. But if they target a small bear, what chance do they have? What chance do we have?
Absolutely.
You're on the food chain as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sure you've heard different recordings of, Bigfoot vocalizations, and you've mentioned already that you've heard almost mimicry of different animals. Have you heard anything that, like a howl or anything where it's like, okay, that's not like a coyote sound. That's something totally different.
Yeah. A whooping.
Oh, you have heard whoops out there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Really?
They're generally followed by a couple of tree knocks.
Wow.
And you can distinguish a tree knock from Bigfoot from a wind blowing a tree. There's a distinct sound.
Okay.
I mean, it's real loud and clear. You hear it leave the area. Like I said, in the structures I've come across, there's some of them, you see them, turn around and get the hell out of there. Do not go any further. They're a warning. Stay out of that area.
It's a warning, yeah.
It's a warning.
I want to say it was my buddy Tate Hieronymus that he labels it like a power knock. I've heard that thrown around, but it's like, it's so sharp, it's so loud that you're just like, it could be nothing else, right?
Yeah. I mean, you hear it, they could be 2-3 miles away. There's no mistaking when they do it. We cannot create that loud of a tree knock ourselves. Ours are short and sharp, but short. Theirs, you hear it. You hear it through thick woods, everything. You'll hear that knock. When they scream, sometimes it sounds like a woman. Okay.
Very interesting because, So you've heard that yourself where it's like like a woman's scream. Oh,
It'll
man.
make you stand up and look around.
Oh, do you have any of that recorded?
Yes.
You do?
So that's why I'll dig them out. I'll get those recordings out. I got to go through all my flash drives and find them, and then I'll get them sent to you.
No pressure, but I would love to hear it. That's awesome. Have you ever played like a baby cry sound?
I'm trying that. That's one of the...
Oh, you're going to try that this year?
Yeah.
Whew. You got to tell me how it goes.
I will.
Because that usually brings out the crazy.
Yeah, I got a feeling I'll be back on your show eventually.
I think we'll be checking in, maybe at the end of the season for you guys. We'll see. I'll definitely keep in touch. I'm in the Montana group, so we'll be keeping in touch. Yeah. You got some wild stuff in that group.
Yeah, that's why. And we're a private group for a reason.
Right.
Me and my moderators, we have one primary thing. You will be respectful. Yes. If you troll somebody, especially me, you ain't got a chance. You're gone. You're history. I will not tolerate it. And we built a group of trust.
Yeah, that's important.
We can talk about the experiences. Look at the guy that contracted with Border Patrol, what he saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot for these people to talk about these experiences. Don't troll.
Absolutely.
Because trust me, I verify everything anybody's saying. And it's not that hard to do. It's just go to the area. You'll learn how to do research online for information. Like I posted, that you notice, I don't post anything on there that I have not double-checked. It has to be more than one article.
That's awesome.
Because I'm online from 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting here doing research.
I have 2 really left field things I want to ask you about, that if you've ever heard anything like about this kind of thing in Montana. It's really left field. So have you ever experienced any like orb stuff up there?
I have in Idaho.
Oh, you have?
Oh, that night we had that log thrown between us.
Yeah.
Just prior to that, we were standing there. I looked up, just about 5 miles away. I'd say quite a ways up in the sky, a red orb was dancing all over the sky. It wasn't a helicopter, and it wasn't an airplane.
Oh, it was like going diagonals and stuff?
It was doing this.
Really?
Stuff. It would disappear. We watched it for 45 minutes. I tried to catch it on the camera, and that it was too far away.
Oh, wow.
Now,
okay, that's cool.
Where I caught the wolves on trail cam. I haven't figured out how to piece the video together, but I have, it looks like an orb coming up this draw, and it slowly floats across the trail cam.
Wow.
And then it comes back, and then comes back, and then it's gone.
Okay.
There's
that's wild.
There's 7 videos of it.
Man, that's awesome.
The night after we caught that juvenile, I woke up. Something was chattering outside of the window of the motorhome on my ceiling. I looked up, and there was a white orb dancing on the ceiling. And it just went out
inside the motorhome, back and forth?
Yeah. I nudged the wife and said, look at that.
Oh, no. And then, I don't know how I deal with that.
You lay there like, what the hell? And
yeah,
then I got up. Yeah, I got up and fully charged dual batteries in a motorhome had gone completely dead. They were completely dead 20 minutes, and they come back online full charge.
No way.
I'm serious.
Oh, that's crazy, Ken. Wow. I don't know how you explain that. Yeah.
You can't.
You can't. I don't know. But that's the thing. It's like there's, so the way I think about it is, there's no right or wrong answers yet for the creature, right? Because we don't have one captured or whatever. So I think it's like, I think it is like an animal, an ape, a creature, but it's like, think of the animals around the world and all the weird stuff they can do. Who's to say that like Bigfoot has like these crazy stuff that we have never even thought an animal can do? I mean, like all bets are off,
Interdimensional travel, cloaking.
You never know. Yeah.
I've never experienced it, but I'm not going to discount it and call somebody else that's bullshit like a lot, because I've never experienced. I only base everything I talk about, I base on my experience, either in the field or online researching. Yeah. And people don't understand that. I have all the time in the world to do this.
Absolutely.
I'm 70. I got all the time in the world.
That's right. All right. Number 2.
Okay.
Left field. There's a creature in cryptozoology where it's like labeled as like a pale crawler, humanoid, weird thing. I don't know if that doesn't ring any bells, don't worry about it. But just in the off chance. Okay.
I've never experienced it personally.
Good.
I'm not saying they're not out there.
Yeah.
Okay, good example. I'd like to meet the farmer in Deer Lodge. He's got one of those on a trail cam.
Who?
There's a rancher out at Deer Lodge. His cattle was come up missing, so he put out a bunch of trail cams. He has something like that on one of the trail cams.
A farmer, this is Deer Lodge, Montana?
Uh-huh.
Can you get me in touch with him?
I'll try to, yeah.
Okay.
I want to meet him. I want to go where it was at.
You got to.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my goodness. So he's got some weird stuff on a trail cam.
Yeah. The thing about research, field research, you have more questions than answers.
Absolutely.
And the more you go out to do it, the more questions you're going to have than answers. But there's always that one moment when something may happen that you're not a believer, it can make you a believer. When I was young, I swore I'd never jump out of an airplane. Well, I finally did it.
You did it.
Yeah, when I was living in Hawaii. I spent time in Hawaii. I was there 14 years on the island of Kauai. You hear about the Menehunis.
Yes.
Tell me what a small footprint in the Akai Swamp, which is one of the highest plateaued swamps in the world. It's actually at the base of the wettest place in the world at 485 inches of rain a year.
Wow.
What is that little footprint doing up there? The Menehunis are the ones that built the fish pond. They call it the Menehune Ditch. When the Hawaiians got there, Kauai was the first islands the Hawaiian Polynesians landed on. There was already a ditch built, and they don't know who built it.
Wow.
It's perfectly angled for water flow and everything. And it goes right through rocks and all. It's got a tunnel and everything. Nobody knows who built it. It's like our medicine wheel in Wyoming. Nobody knows who built it. It was there when the Native Americans come into that area. Who built it?
What's the medicine wheel?
It's a big, it looks like if you're in the air, like the Aztec lines, you can see it on the ground, but if you're in the air, it's a great big wheel with spokes.
Okay.
The medicine wheel. It's a sacred place for the Native Americans. It was there when they got there.
That's wild, dude.
You hear the people before, constant the people before.
Are there the mounds in Montana?
Eastern Montana around the Mandan villages, there's a few, but not like what's on the East Coast in Tennessee.
Right, not like Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah. The mounds there. Most of here, I'm sure, is burial.
Okay.
And that I respect the natives here.
Sure.
And I don't believe in disturbing them. Anything.
Absolutely not.
If I can get one to talk to me, and once he really gets to know it, they will open up. I'm hoping this year to sit down with the chief of the Blackfoot up here out of Arlee.
Oh, wow.
and sit down with him and the medicine man and talk to him. They know who I am. But it's taken years to develop if I'm that close.
That's the thing people don't understand, I think, is how long it takes to create relationships like that. It will literally take years. And today's culture doesn't get that in a world where you can just click, I want to be your friend. It's not like that. You have to spend years, you know? It's wild.
Yeah, and then the other one, too, if you look at during the pandemic, the reservation, the big one, the Blackfeet one east of the Divide, it was shut down. It was closed. You couldn't go in there.
Oh, wow.
Up here, because you have to drive through to get to Flathead Lake. Now, Flathead Lake, there's been reports of footprints, something stinky walking on the east side of Flathead Lake.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, they're here. We don't hear a lot. There's more Bigfoot sightings in Montana than most people realize because we don't talk about it. That's our problem. We're not talking about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got it. Thank goodness for the Montana Bigfoot International Research Group. You guys are trying to get all the evidence together. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it takes time.
Yeah.
I got to have it before I die. Come on now.
That you'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Plus, I'm going to try this year. I'm actually going to do gold prospecting to see if that'll.
Oh, you are?
Bigfoot. Yeah.
Oh, wait. So, you're gonna prospect for gold. Hopefully, you'll get some Bigfoot evidence at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Be careful. You got those stories of up in Canada where the prospectors and the, just have your eyes behind you, I guess. Don't let anyone sneak up on you.
A good sense of smell.
There you go.
And that, so.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate having them come on board. Like I said, this is my first time I've actually talked to somebody about experiences and what we're
awesome.
doing
and
everything. So.
Yeah, Ken, I appreciate you coming on and chatting tonight. This has been a really, really fun chat. There's more going on in Montana than I realized. Do you mind taking a few minutes? If you have any closing thoughts, definitely say those, but remind people how they can keep up to date with the Montana Bigfoot International Research Group and how they can, contact you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, they can contact me through my email, dogman129@msn.com. It's on the domain, the www, the Montana Bigfoot Research Group.com. My Facebook group is the Montana International Bigfoot Research Group. International Research. But it's on Facebook. You can find it on there. We are private. If somebody wants to join, please answer the questions.
Yep.
Because they automatically declined. And we got it set up that way. We're not a large group, but we're building. We're slowly building. And when we have people that have experiences, they're talking about it. We finally got them to talk about it. And even if you're in Montana or you're coming through and want to spend some time on a field research, get a hold of me.
Awesome.
We'd welcome. We'll take you out there. And it'd be part of it. You might be there when we finally find that one thing we're looking for to prove what we're looking for. I think how neat that would be.
That would be very cool. Ken, it has been a delight chatting with you, and I'll definitely be probably touching base with you again in the future. And it'd be a good time. But thanks so much for coming on, Ken.
Well, thank you for having me. And if I come across something in May exciting, I'll let you know immediately.
Fantastic.
You'll be on the group site.
Thank you for listening to Bigfoot Society. If you like the show, please review and rate it 5 stars on iTunes. Hit the share button and send this episode to all your friends on social media. Subscribe to Bigfoot Society wherever you listen to podcasts. It doesn't cost a thing. Pick up a Bigfoot Society shirt or enamel pin over on our Etsy page, and people will tell you all about their Bigfoot sightings when you wear it. At least that's what people tell us. That's what happens. If you'd like to become an official member of Bigfoot Society with a membership card, a community of like-minded individuals, visuals, and extra content each month, then please consider becoming a supporter of the podcast by going to www.patreon.com/The Bigfoot Society. Thanks for listening.